So, Kev, again, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Let's start with the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns 2021 regular season schedule is out. They open up with, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs. And as I said earlier, I believe that the Browns are as good as the Chiefs. I think, in fact, actually, the Browns defense and secondary is better than the Chiefs. I think that the Browns offensive line is about equal to what the Chiefs have. I think that the Browns running game is way better than the Chiefs. Receivers, I'll give the slight advantage to the Chiefs, and quarterback, clearly the advantage goes to the Chiefs. I have the Browns losing to the Chiefs in week 1, 0-1 to start, but then I have the Browns going on quite a significant little win streak. They're going to win in weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. They're going to rack up wins over the Texans, the Bears, the Vikings, the Chargers, and I circled the Chargers because I said with Justin Herbert and that revamped offensive line, I like the weapons they have on defense as well. I think the Chargers will be one of the most improved teams in football this year because they did it right. They started up front with the offensive line, protected their quarterback. Herbert was kick-ass with the weak offensive line last year. I think he's going to take a huge step forward this year. I have the Browns beating the Chargers, but that's one of those toss-up games that I feel like if the Browns lose to them, it's not going to be that much of a surprise. Wins over the Cardinals, Broncos in week 6 and 7, and then there's the Steelers in week 8. The Browns lose in week 1 to the Chiefs. That week 8 game with the Steelers is interesting because it's the first time these two teams have met since the Browns beat the Steelers in the playoffs and in the final game of the regular season to clinch the playoffs last year. I think that's a bigger game for the Steelers than the Browns, although I think the Browns are the better team. I think the Steelers are going to come in ticked off. They're going to come in angry. They're going to want to put last year's close to the season to bed, and that's the best way to do it is revenge with a big W over the Browns. I think that the Steelers get a win in week 8 over the Browns, and what's even most impressive about that win for the Steelers is that it will be at Cleveland. Then moving on to week 9, of course, I don't have the Browns losing to the Bengals at all. Bengals fans are very chirpy. They're very confident that the Bengals will split with the Browns. Look, this isn't a cute little Browns-Steelers rivalry. This Browns team is head and shoulders better than this Bengals team. It is not even close. I think that the Bengals are on the right track to being a good team at some point, but it is not close right now. The gap between the Browns and the Bengals is the same gap between the Chiefs and the Bengals. That's how good the Browns are. You can think I'm a homer all you want, but if you listen to anyone else outside of this area, they'll tell you the same thing as far as how good this roster is. But as I stated, Baker Mayfield's going to be the X factor that either takes this team to the promised land or holds them back because the Browns are the most complete team in football, especially in the AFC. Not the best team in football, but the most complete. I have them losing in week 10 to the Patriots. I have them beating the Lions, losing to the Ravens in week 12, and then they beat the Ravens at home. They're going to split with the Ravens. They're going to split with the Steelers. I have them beating the Raiders in week 15, and then my Christmas present, because the Packers and the Browns will play on Christmas Day, I have the Browns beating the Packers on Christmas Day. Aaron Rodgers is better than Baker Mayfield. I love the star receivers that the Packers have, but I think overall the group of pass catchers as a whole, from tight end all the way to receivers, are better than the Packers. The offensive line is better than the Packers. The defense is better than the Packers. I have the Browns getting a huge win on the road at Green Bay on Christmas Day. They will lose. They will beat the Steelers at Pittsburgh, returning the win, or the loss that they, of course, suffered at home in week 8. And then, of course, closing out the season with the win over the Bengals. I have the Browns finishing the season at 13-4. And again, passing that win total from last year. Last point, and then Kev will tell you his predictions for the Browns in 2021. They have the Chiefs, they have the Patriots, they have the Packers. Those are the 3 best teams that they play outside of the division. They play the Chiefs at Kansas City. They play the Patriots at New England, and they play the Packers at Green Bay. The Browns will come away with 1 win of those 3 games. It could be the Chiefs. It could be the Patriots. It could be the Packers. I believe that win comes against the Packers, though, and I think a win over the Packers is better than a win over the Chiefs because of when the Browns play the Packers. If the Browns get a win at Green Bay on Christmas Day with only 2 weeks remaining in the regular season, 13-win team winning the AFC North, a win over the Packers heading into the playoffs, that's all the momentum that the Browns need. And I think they take that 13-4 division winning record into the playoffs and get to the AFC title game where they will have a chance to get the revenge on the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC title game. Kev, 13-4, my prediction for the Browns in 2021.
For me, for the Browns, I got them going 11-6, opening the season with a loss versus Kansas City, but getting back on track with wins over the Texans. Bears and Vikings. Then a loss to the Chargers. I'm really bullish on the Chargers, but then following it up with some quality wins over the Cardinals, Broncos, a loss to the Steelers, a loss to the Bengals. So that's back-to-back L's. I got the Browns taking earlier in the season, but then they get back on track with wins over the Patriots with their revamped situation they got going on there. A win over the Lions, and then that weird back-to-back game that they got with the Ravens. I got them losing the first one, regroup for the bye week, then beating the Baltimore Ravens, and then beating the Las Vegas Raiders. Much like you, also have them beating the Green Bay Packers. I think there's just way too much turmoil going on with Green Bay right now. And yes, I'm one of the few people that's going to have Pittsburgh sweeping the Browns this year, even though the Browns will have a better record, in my opinion. And then they got the win versus the Bengals closing out the season to make them 11-6.
So you're saying 11-6
Yes, sir.
is the projected record that you have for the Cleveland Browns. And again, one more time, you have the Steelers winning both matchups against the Browns.
Correct.
All right, interesting. So Kev Nash has the Browns record projections for 2021. Kev Nash has the Browns going 11-6. I have the Cleveland Browns finishing 13-4 here in 2021. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Leave your projections, record projections for the Browns in the comments section. We'll react to those coming up in a moment. Now we switch